You know that kind of place where people greet you with a kiss, even before they know your name? Well, welcome to Brazil. But relax, my dear, that is actually not carelessness, you see? It's a way of life, because Brazilians are this walking paradox. They are perpetually late, yet they never seem to lose their stride. They grumble about the scorching heat but refuse to leave the beach, and they'll exclaim, "Come closer, my love," as if we've been lifelong companions. Ha ha ha! And that's what we're going to find out today. Why does Brazil charm foreigners so much, and at the same time, leave them completely confused? Today, you'll gain a fresh perspective on Brazil, viewing it through the eyes of those who've arrived from abroad and discovered that, despite its reputation as one of the world's happiest nations, an invisible social rules exists. So, be careful not to make any blunders. Understand? The Brazil you see in pictures versus the actual Brazil. You know those places that appear absolutely perfect in photographs? Beach, sunshine, people smiling, caipirinha in hand. That's right. Brazil truly is just like that, at least until you actually set foot here and try to experience life as it really is. A woman from Finland mentions she adores the Brazilian way of living. It's more lighthearted here. People are so open, genuinely friendly, and they always have ample time to chat. But she just took a moment to laugh and then completed her thought. However, absolutely nothing truly prepares you for Brazil. And that's it. Brazil is just like that charismatic friend you truly love, yet who constantly leaves you hanging. It's chaotic, intense, noisy, and unpredictable, but in a way that gets you hooked. You may voice complaints, yet you choose to stay. A Portuguese lady remarked, "I adore the climate, but Portugal's security is my preference." And one American put it perfectly. In Rio, the view's cinematic, but the soundtrack's street vendors, horns, and someone offering you acai every 10 yards. Brazil truly is a true test of one's patience and utter enchantment simultaneously. A Finn, accustomed to quiet, encounters samba, the constant clamor, the good morning from strangers, and muses. Oh my goodness, they chatter so much and yet seem so utterly content. And indeed they are, because Brazil is not designed to be rationally understood, but rather to be emotionally experienced. Here, chaos is an integral part of the experience. While a European seeks logic, a Brazilian searches for a reason to smile and laugh. And this difference produces a genuinely delightful culture shock. A Finnish woman told me with a smile, "In Finland, everyone follows the rules. Here, it's the law of the jungle." And that really got me thinking, perhaps that is precisely what fascinates such a great number of people so much. This constant improvisation, this Brazilian knack that annoys outsiders, but which deep down is what keeps the country going. Brazil is the country where improvisation is an art, mistakes are normal, and being late is excusable if it comes with a smile. It's paradise disguised as a social experiment, and those who try to understand it with their head end up falling in love with their heart. The Brazilian way of being friends. In Brazil, friendships happen fast. It happens really quickly. You meet someone new today, and by tomorrow, they're already calling you bro. But calm down, gringo. That doesn't necessarily mean what you think it does. An American woman shared with me, Brazilians are really kind. They claim they want to be friends, but sometimes it's nothing more than pleasantries. Ultimately, you never speak again, and that's exactly true. Over here, we often mistake mere friendliness for true intimacy. It's that classic, "Let's meet up," which practically means never. But Brazilians speak with such feeling that foreigners readily believe them. And there they are, waiting for that beach meetup, while the other person is still picking out their bikini for the day. A Finnish woman explained to me, laughing, "In Finland, if someone says they'll see you, they really will. Here, a yes is more like a disguised maybe." And a Portuguese man also mentioned I'd set up meetings, but no one ever arrived. At first, I thought it was personal. Then I understood. It's cultural, and it really is. Brazilians are masters at avoiding no, as if it were a sin. He would prefer to invent an excuse than to be straightforward about it. However, what appears as dishonesty to those from outside is, in reality, merely sugar-coated politeness. We prefer to disappoint with a smile than to be honest with a sour face. And then there's the flip side. No one makes you feel quite as welcomed as a Brazilian. A foreign woman said, "Here, even people who don't know you invite you to their home." In my homeland, to reach that level of intimacy, it requires at least 3 dinners and a shared traumatic experience. And she's right. A Brazilian is the type to lend you a towel, food, and advice. All within 5 minutes of forming a friendship, but then they can also vanish with the very same swiftness. And ultimately, that's truly what makes the whole experience so wonderfully human. Because in Brazil, friendship doesn't need a contract, just time, laughter, and a Sunday barbecue. It's a friendship forced with phrases like, "Now come on over, chill out, and the beer's getting cold." And although it may be transient, it's invariably profoundly intense. Brazil is truly the sole place where you can genuinely feel at home, even if you don't know a single soul. But calm down, sweetie. The manual isn't finished just yet, all right? I will now introduce you to Brazil's biggest villain, which is the clock. The clock nobody uses. If anything truly bewilders foreigners in Brazil, it's the concept of time. Not the weather, the actual clock. Here, time is a philosophical concept. You plan something for 3 p.m., and a Brazilian interprets that as whenever. A Swedish woman once told me with a chuckle, "If they say they'll show up at 8, prepare yourself for 10. And if they say they're coming, they might not. That's it." In Brazil, "I'll be there in half an hour" could mean, "I'm just leaving the house, I'm still in the shower," or "I completely forgot we made plans." But the most curious thing is that no one gets truly annoyed. Lateness is socially accepted, much like the intense heat or the constant noise. It's virtually a part of the cultural landscape. A Finnish woman recounted, "In Finland, punctuality demonstrates respect. Here, it's a clear sign you're not quite Brazilian yet," and she is not wrong at all. This tardiness is a way to fully embrace the present moment. While a European meticulously times their coffee break, a Brazilian savors the conversation with the waiter. While a Finn calculates traffic, a Carioca trusts that God helps those who relax. An American told me, "I made plans with a friend for 7 p.m. He arrived at 9:30, claiming his Uber was delayed, though he lives only 2 blocks away. My response was, at least he showed up. Because that's the thing about Brazilians. They might be tardy, but they arrive with a smile, and that smile is the universal justification. And when an outsider truly begins to grasp this, something shifts. They just relax. They set aside their clock. They begin to measure time, not in minutes, but in shared stories. Essentially, Brazilian lateness proves we live by a different rhythm, more chaotic, more free, and inherently more human. Here, time doesn't own us. It's our accomplice. If you wish to thrive in Brazil, you absolutely must grasp this crucial principle. Nothing occurs exactly on schedule. Yet for Brazilians, everything unfolds precisely when it's truly meant to. Love, kisses, and tropical chaos. In Brazil, love is an extreme sport. And kissing is simply the preliminary act. A Londoner shared with me, rather taken aback, "In Brazil, you kiss before you even know their name." And that really is the case. In London, flirting is almost a bureaucratic ordeal, requiring steps, consent, paperwork, and perhaps even a cup of tea. But here, romance ignites on the dance floor, with just a glance and a smile, and that's all it takes. The kiss serves as a resume, an introduction, and even a temporary contract, all rolled into one. A Colombian woman, chuckling, shared with me, "In Colombia, men actually make an effort to persuade you of your uniqueness before attempting to kiss you. In Brazil, they simply declare, 'You're beautiful,' and that's it." She then commented, "I prefer that, because at least they're straightforward." This directness is precisely why foreigners often find themselves so perplexed. Brazilians are truly unique in how they make flirting an ordinary everyday verb. In Brazil, even a simple hi can feel like flirting. What's even worse is that no one ever truly knows when a relationship has actually begun. Are we just casually dating? Are we an item? Or are we simply mingling our emotions? In this country, anything is possible, and it can all end with a simple Licene's message at 11:47 p.m. An American woman confessed, "People here fall in love fast, but they disappear fast too, and that's it." Brazilians love like someone who dives headfirst into a sea they've never seen. Without knowing if it's shallow or if it's deep or if there are rocks, they simply dive right in. And if it goes wrong, at least it was exciting. And then there's the other side, jealousy. A European lady once told me, "The men here are quite possessive." I once had a boyfriend who completely lost it just because I embraced a friend. Brazilian love is intense, beautiful, and utterly exhausting. It's a relationship with Latin drama, a country music soundtrack, and a Mexican soap opera script. And in the middle of all this, the foreigner tries to understand, are they fighting or flirting? The answer is indeed yes. Still, despite all that, it's quite difficult not to find yourself charmed. A Finnish woman told me, Brazilians show what they feel. In Finland, we tend to keep all our emotions bottled up, but here, everything is laid bare for all to see. And perhaps that very openness is what makes tropical love so incredibly addictive. It's disorganized, contradictory, and over the top. But it's real too, because Brazilians love with their bodies, laughter, and beautiful chaos. It's the kind of love that drives you crazy but makes you want to stay just a little bit longer. Body, appearance, and obsession. If there's one thing that truly startles any foreigner when they arrive in Brazil, it's the sheer amount of skin on display. A Finnish woman once told me, laughing, "The bikinis here look exactly like underwear." And an American woman then added, "I live directly across from a CrossFit gym. Whether it's 7 in the morning or 10 at night, there's always someone working out, and that's just a fact of life here." The body cult, in essence, operates as an unofficial religion throughout Brazil. The gym is the temple, the mirror is the altar, and the selfie is the confession. In this place, you don't just train for health, you train to get a good photo of your back on the beach. And the most peculiar thing is that nobody appears to judge this. While in other countries the body is a taboo, in Brazil, it's a resume. It's the way of saying I exist in flip-flops, with a tan, and wearing tiny shorts. A Colombian woman said, "In Europe, less is more." Here, it's quite the reverse. The more skin shown, the better, and she really isn't exaggerating. Strolling the Ipanema boardwalk is akin to witnessing an impromptu fashion parade, featuring tattoos, piercings, shorts, crop tops, and an inherent self-assurance that would truly make any runway model envious. Yet, it's not merely vanity, it signifies identity. Here, the body is expression, language, and even a status symbol. There are those who display themselves out of desire, others because they are able to, and then there are those who do so as it's their sole means of being noticed in a nation where all aspire to stand out. A Finnish woman observed, "There, we dress to protect ourselves from the cold. Here, it seems the heat is just an excuse to show more." And perhaps she has a point. Brazil is warm, but it's the emotional heat that truly sends the thermometer soaring. It's the land where a tan is a symbol of success and a bikini is part of citizenship. But what truly astounds is the harmonious interplay between pride and personal liberty. People unapologetically display their bodies. To outsiders, this might appear provocative, but it's simply the Brazilian way of expressing, it's perfectly fine to be your true self. This is why even the most reserved European, after merely a month in Brazil, is already snapping photos in a Speedo, attributing it all to pleasure, sunshine, and vitamin D. Brazil isn't just a country that celebrates the body. It's a country that has learned to laugh at its own vanity, because in the end, the mirror is just another stage where we improvise happiness. Religion, faith, and contradiction. There's one thing that always surprises those who come from outside the country. Brazilians talk about God everywhere they go. It could be in the middle of traffic, or at the beach, in a bar, or even right after a goal. Here, faith isn't a topic, it's a soundtrack. An American, utterly astonished, once told me, "I truly believe that in such a celebratory nation, people would be far less concerned with religion, yet it's quite the contrary. Almost everyone here believes in God, and he certainly is right." In Brazil, faith and disorder can be found together at the same bar table. It is the only country where someone can go straight from church to a barbecue, and then directly from the barbecue to a pagode party. And everything's fine. A woman from Rio told me with a smile, "We trust in God, but we also put faith in horoscopes, use salt baths for cleansing, and perform New Year's good luck rituals." And this truly speaks volumes about the Brazilian people. Here, spirituality is a very personal journey. Each individual crafts their own unique blend of beliefs, forming a distinctive faith mix. It's Jesus with incense, Yamanja with a rosary, and mantras with funk music playing in the background. For those from Europe, this truly comes as a shock. The Finnish woman noted, "In Finland, people generally do not discuss religion. Here, they talk about God all the time, but they're still cheerful, free, and not at all fanatical. And it's true." The faith of Brazilians is not prescriptive, but emotional. It's not about following rules, it's about having hope, even when everything seems to be falling apart. It's a faith that dances, cries, and laughs with you. Perhaps that's precisely what sustains the nation. While the rest of the world descends into chaos, a Brazilian simply closes their eyes, takes a profound breath, and utters that timeless phrase, It will work out, God willing. And what's truly remarkable is that, more often than not, it actually does. The Brazil that changes you. There's a moment every foreigner living here realizes it. Brazil truly transforms you, and in a manner unmatched by any other nation. There's something a Finnish woman once shared with me that I'll forever remember. Brazil showed me how to truly unwind. It was a simple statement, yet deeply profound, because those from abroad often arrive quickly, eager to understand, adapt, and plan everything out. But Brazil has a subtle way of saying, "Oh, hold on, just breathe." A Moroccan guy laughingly told me, "I learned that nothing happens on time, but everything happens." And I thought, that's it. Brazil is the land of improvisation, but also of surprise. Nothing ever functions correctly, but somehow, everything ends up working out. You begin by getting irritated by the delay, but eventually, you grow accustomed to it. You start out by grumbling about the heat, and yet you finish up by heading to the beach during your lunch break. You start off suspicious and end up hugging strangers at Carnival. An American shared an interesting thought with me. "Here, I've come to trust people." He then elaborated, "In the United States, everything is a matter of contract. In Brazil, everything is based on trust." And it's true. Here, things get sorted out through conversation, improvisation, with "as you leave it to me." And when problems remain, we still find a way to laugh them off. Brazil won't change your daily routine. Instead, it alters your way of thinking. It teaches you to live in the middle of chaos without losing your smile. It instructs you that having control is an illusion, and that spontaneous improvisation can actually be a profound form of wisdom. A Finnish woman confided in me saying, "I genuinely believed I was open-minded before I actually resided here, and perhaps that inherent quality is where Brazil's true power truly lies. It's not the sun, or the food, or the samba. It's this ability to make you open up to life, to people, to the messiness." Brazil doesn't instantly transform anyone. It changes you gradually, disguised as Brazilian lateness, warmth, and hearty laughter. And when you realize it, you become a little bit Brazilian too. Brazil is a functional chaos. Nothing truly makes sense, yet everything is deeply felt. Here, love is confusing, time is relative, and life is improvised. And still, things work out just fine. You might complain about the heat, the traffic, the delays, but just one beach sunset and a "good morning, my love" from a stranger will remind you why it's impossible not to cherish this nation. A foreign woman once said, "Even when Brazil truly irks me, I still cherish it." And that's exactly right. Brazil isn't meant to be understood, it's meant to be felt. It's loud, it's late, it's imperfect, but it's alive. While the rest of the world strives for order, we Brazilians simply embrace the chaos with a laugh and keep going, because for us, true happiness isn't in meticulous planning, but in constant improvisation. So tell me now, if you had to characterize Brazil in just one single word, what would that be? Please leave a comment below so I can see just how far this video has reached. And click the video on the screen, because in it, I'll show you the other side of this paradise that no one has the courage to show. Thanks everyone, and see you next time.